I'ma learn you though, I'ma learn you. Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy Fivoe, aka the MF Crooked Cop, and today is training day, motherfucker. Throughout YouTube, I mean, there's a friggin' myriad of graffiti tutorial videos, and I don't know, man, sometimes I just like to click on them just to see how full of shit people are, because they obviously don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So what I decided to do is, seeing as I get a lot of requests on like Instagram and stuff for advice on pieces, I mean, there's only so much advice I can give while typing, you know what I mean? You know, obviously, the main advice that you always get, or that I would always give, I mean, other writers I know would always give, is if you're gonna start with straights, man. I know it sounds shit, everyone wants to, just jump in, start throwing up burners. It doesn't work like that, man. It really fucking doesn't. I mean, I taught myself everything that I know for anything to do with art. No one's ever told me anything. And I did the same fucking thing when I started with graph fucking donkeys ago, whenever it fucking was. I thought, you know what I mean, I'll just jump in and start doing all these mad letters. And it just took fucking ages for me to get my head around it, because I should have just, you know, really just gone to basics and work from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out the black book and I'm going to start out with a straight letter, run a straight letter piece, ink that shit in like red or something, and then over the top of that, I'll style the fuck out of it into a more complicated piece, like a sort of end game piece. So it's going from basic to advanced, and I'll just do like my stock burner. And what I mean by a stock burner is, once you've figured out your formula for how your letters work together, you have like a set formula, and you can edit it, you can change it, you can do whatever you want from that point, but you've always got that one starting point that it just clicks at some point. You'll struggle your tits off, and then all of a sudden, boom, formula reached, and you're fucking away, man. So let's dive in. Okay, so first thing you've got to think is that all letters are made up of one of three things. They're made up of straight bars, curved bars, and loops. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll start with a down stem for the F. That's your first bar. Then you've got a secondary bar that comes across. And then your third bar, which normally, you know, would just be like so, but I tend to stagger it back a bit just to close this gap off between the next letter. Like so, that's the F. Same again for your I. Try it, obviously, you keep all your bars the same thickness. I mean, that's just says itself. And then your V, you've got two bars again, which will go like nya and like nya. That's your V. And then your O. And then your E, which is obviously you've got a bar, a bar, bar, and a bar. Right, so that's just a basic straight letter. So I'll just ink that right quick, and then we'll get rid of all the fucking rough up. Okay, so that's that basic straight bullshit. Yeah, it's scruffy as fuck, but no one really cares because it's only there to serve as an example for what I'm going to show you. Okay, so same again. We'll start with this stem on the F, but I'm going to twerk it on an angle. Like so. We're going to go for a flat bottom on it, so obviously a little snip there, and we're going to come out here. No, I'm trying to keep all the thicknesses the same, as that's just a little kick off. We'll go for there with this bar ish. Okay, so this top bar, I'm going to give it like a savage kick. So we take the same bar again, same shape, and run it like this. Bring it up. Same again here. Bring it to there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run an extension off this. But what you want to think of extensions is, think of it as two letters. So you've got your basic bar, but the bar could also be different. So we'll fatten it out up here, and then bring down this extension. You see what I'm saying? And then what I usually do is I'll run an extension off this. So we'll tick that in there, go straight up, and then back down. I always run like a bladed extension off that part of the F. No reason other than because it looks good. Okay, so when it comes to connections and arrows and stuff, as far as I'm concerned, this should either come from the top of a letter, like the top of a stem, or the bottom of a stem, inside of curves, or outside of curves, or on corners. Just don't throw arrows out of friggin' random places, because it just doesn't work. So what we're going to do is we'll run a little flare off this guy here. And there has to be a reason for a connection. So because we've got this little back, this little kick out here, we'll run a connection onto that. Like so. And then just because that's just a little bit shit being that square, what I'll do is I'll run a little semi off that, as if that was still continually curved, but it's broke off and it's up here. Okay, and then you get your eye. So we'll just go for a more simple eye. Try and keep it all tight together. So I'll go in with the eye, the same bar. And we'll give him a little kick here, like so, and then one at the top. But just to make things a little bit more funk, rather than just going straight in or straight across, I'll just curve it back that way, so you get a crazy sort of eye. And then the dot, I don't know, we'll just throw the dot on an angle like that somewhere or something. You know, squash it in, don't keep it round, just a bit of funk. Okay, for the V, I'm gonna take the same stem, but I'm gonna kind of cork it in the middle, kind of tweak that shit. I want it kind of tall on this back leg, So bring that shit in, and then you get your kick from there out. Same again, keep it all sort of the same thickness. You can flare it out at the top a little touch, you don't want to do that too much. And then come back in. Like so. We'll give this like a mad foot on this end, I think. Like that. Just like a mad cloud foot. I don't know, man, it just looks a bit better, doesn't it? Okay, when you start talking about breaks and stuff, if you see the lines that people have put into letters that makes it look like a double up letter, because I've got this sort of mad crook here, what we'll do is we'll split that bar in half and we'll sort of stagger it a touch. Like that, you know what I mean? It's just got a mad little break in there, it just breaks the piece up a bit, takes the eye away. Okay, for the top of this little section here, rather than it just being flat, I do a little thing that I call the mushroom top, which is just, you just throw a line through it, up a little touch there, and then arc it out over where the square bit would be. So say this would go like that. I'm just flaring it out over the top just to, you know, give it a bit of extra flow in that little piece of the piece. Plus it throws the eye out a little touch more. Okay, so this O is, you know, I don't want to be throwing a massive O in like that. I think it would cock the entire piece up. So what I'll do is, normally I'd just use a character or something, because O's are shit, aren't they? They're just boring. But what I'll do is I'll just tweak it and squash it out and go like there with it. Yeah, I hope it's fucking showing up on camera anyway. Okay, so this E, what I'm gonna do, if you've ever seen like the loopies that are sort of, you know, like, yeah, we'll go for that sort of effect, but cross it in with that. So I'm going to start from this middle bar here, and I'm going to twick it right down and overextend it like crazy, like so. And then throw in that bottom loop. Like that. And then this top section of the E, what I'm going to do is, rather than just come from here as typical, I'm going to come right forward with it. Sometimes it works better if you work from the inside of the letter, because that gauges where the outside will be. So then just flare that shit out a bit. Like so. Okay, so because we've got this massive kick here, I kind of want to balance it out on this side, because I always try and think about balance throughout the entire piece. So what we'll do is we'll come from here and just give it an extension on this bit, like say like, you know, like a down stem like that. I want to flow that out a bit more, probably like that. And then just to marry it up with that, same again, we're coming from a curve here, so just run a little extendy guy off there and just twerk it back into this bit, because you've got this little connection here. I mean, obviously just edit it as needed, you know, give it a bit of a tweak if you want to. And then really it needs something on this back end now of the E, because obviously if you look, it just stops there, whereas this comes out. So what I'll do is we'll give it a kick up, but I'll bring it in from this section and then bring that shit up. I'll extend that out more there, flatten him out so it flows a bit better. And that's just a little bit savage there, man, so we'll ease it. That way we get a bit more of a kick on it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so we've got like a lot of dead space here now. So what I'll do is we'll bring that across, back down, and then from there I'll run an extension from there, like a connection. Like so. And then what I usually do at this bit, like I said, it's just my stock piece, is you know, just turn it into an arrow. I don't tend to throw in too many arrows or connections, because I just think that, you know, if you're going to throw in too many connections, you know, you can make a shit piece look good with connections, but ideally it's about structure, you know what I mean? You want to keep that shit fresh. You know, who knows, maybe we'll come out a bit more on them, just for, you know what I mean? Just twerk it like that, and then have it so it's sort of poking that letter a bit. And then, you know what, fuck it, we'll add a break in here. So add a little break in, and then there's another type of connection that you might see on pieces. Ideally you want it where there is a break, but you don't have to. You know, we just put like a little dirty bar on it, like that. So it's like, this is broke here, so it's like two separate pieces, but that's holding it together now. If you get what I'm saying, you'll see when I ink it anyway. Okay, so ear's looking a bit dead now. So what I'll do is, from this section of the oar on the inside, because we're on a curve, we can run a connection from it. I'll come through there, so it'd, you know, go behind, and then I'll go straight down with it. Actually, we'll go over with that, won't I? We'll go over the oar, straight down, and then give that a little bar off there, and then we'll connect to that. Same again, that looks a bit shit like that, so let's just add a little semi in there. As if, you know, as if it's broke off that section. You know, so as if this little section here was connected to that. You can always blur that so it looks a bit better, you know, kick it like that, some shit. Okay, so let's just bring that out a little touch more and balance the entire thing a little touch better. Alright, so that's like the basic outline of it. So what I'll do, I'll ink it, and as I'm inking it, I'll explain a couple of more things as we do it. So I'll ink this one in black so we can see it better. Okay, so we're going to come in with that. We overlap a touch here, bring that across, and then what you can do, or what I like to do with stuff like that, you see it's going to kick in there, this little kick's going to come out, but what we can do is just add a couple of little doodads, just add a little doodad there, you know, so it's got like sort of a reason, that's kind of breaking, but it's folded back into this. Bring that down a little touch more, just so it adds a bit more character to it. Up on that. And because it's kind of a sharp thing, fuck it, we'll give it a little split there. Sort of like a damaged blade type thing. Why the fuck not? And okay, so we'll bring this little extension into play now. Okay, I'm going to carry this up a little touch and just snap it in, like so. Just why the fuck not? Why not? Why not? You know what I mean? Just lap it in a little touch. Okay, so that looks kind of plain, but you can always just add in a couple of little snippets like that. Just breaks it up a little touch, you know what I mean? Maybe put one there as well. And then add this little semi in. Obviously shorten it down because I did it too big to start with. And then move into this top bar. Like that. And then same as we did here, you know, fuck it, let's add one of them in. And I don't know, maybe a little other one there, like so. And then drop this extension. Tell you what, save that F bar ended here. What we'll do is we'll give it a little flare there and then bring that shit up. Okay. That's just like the worst line ever, but who cares? Okay, what you can also do is, because this bar would run across, you know, maybe you want to run a little line there, just to say that's where it was, and then because this is obviously curved, and we'll say that it's sort of, you know, dome shaped, we'll just add a little line like that, give it a little screw hole or something, why the fuck not, and then move into the eye. I'm not going to connect this little bit here because I like to have them sort of wedged into each other, the letters, but if you're going to do that, I'd advise only doing it on one piece of a letter, because if you did it through the whole letters, you know, like say if I did it on every section of every letter where they connect to anything, it's just one smudge then. I don't think you get the effect that you want. And then, I don't know, give that a little bit of a zigzag there on that, just because we can. And then fuck it, we'll say that this connects to the V here. And I don't know, maybe let's split that eye in half. The dot of the eye, we'll just break it in half. So we'll go for a half circle. And then bring it in. And just carry it through. And then, you know, just cut the line in just a little touch. Just like that, you know. So you can see that it's kind of overlapping. Bring this up. Let's give him a zigzag as well, because why not? I like zigzags. You know what, fuck it, let's give that a little bit of a flare like that. Adds a bit of funk, doesn't it? The weird little foot thing. And then I'm going to do the same with a couple of these little doodads. I'm going to do them in this bit as well. But this time they're going to come out of the actual shape of the mushroom top. Yeah. Let's keep that one like that. Okay, we'll get this arrow in while it's overlapping some stuff. And then we'll overlap these little lines a touch here, as if this is kind of sitting a bit behind it, just to add a little bit of depth to the piece. And then get this tip in, this arrow point. Okay. So, tell you what, we'll come out from there and we'll spiral that fucker all the way around. That kind of crazy. I don't know, I kind of feel that this all needs a break in it somewhere. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll... Oh, I can't really do it now. Fuck it, we'll give it a curved one. Like that. Why the fuck not? always keep in mind which bits are in front and which bits are behind of your letter. So I'm going to drop this behind the O. And I'll tell you what, just for shits and giggles, just for fill this little bit of dead space in here, I'm going to put a slight little connector in, and then just bring it across, and we'll just run it straight down into this letter, straight down into that bar. And then make it look as if it sort of carries on into the letter somewhere. You know what I mean? And then, you know, there's no doodads over this little bit of the piece, so let's give this guy some. And fuck it, let's give him one a bit higher up here as well. You know what I mean? Pop this crazy extension in. Excuse it. Double whammy. And then we're going to lose this section of the E because we don't want that, because we're flaring out here now. So we'll just bring it in. Fuck it, zigzags always look nice. Now if you notice, rather than just keeping that like a sharp point, I've just kind of taken that corner off, just to make it a bit less harsh. Because we're going for flow at the end of the day, not just savage sharpness. Okay, just let me get rid of all the scrub. Okay, so I know it's looking a bit confusing now. because that's so thin and the red's so thick. But what we'll do is we'll add the 3D in and the power line. I'll explain how to do it as I do it, and then it should stand out a lot more for you to see. So we're gonna go with the 3D in and down. So you know, it's kind of as if you was looking at it from the center and it was wider than you, so the 3D had cut back on itself. So you want to look at a central point for your 3D to angle to, and luckily enough, with the way I do my letters, that's right in the middle of this. That's the center of the piece. So all you want to do is keep all your 3D the same and keep it on the same angle. So and I'll not do a drop shadow, I'll just do a standard 3D. So we're going to go in on that angle. And bear in mind, I'm quite used to doing 3D and stuff, but you can always use the edges of your letters to make sure that you get things right. So, you know, we'll go there, and then you could come from that corner there, and you've got to always keep these the same length, so you know then where your lines need to marry up. And you know, from here this time, keep it the same length, and then that'll just go straight on that line. You see what I'm saying? So it keeps everything the same. See, that's the same length as these, around about. So your 3D here is going to be kind of thin. It won't always be the same thickness, but as long as you work from those lines, as long as those lines from your corners of your letters are always the same, your perspective will always be right. That's not going to really have anything on it though, because this angle is kind of the same as that angle, so I'm not going to 3D this point, but that will be 3D. So we'll just carry that line across there, so you get the same sort of angle. Do the same here, just do the same throughout the entire piece, apart from when you get to your central point. That's what you're looking out for. Okay, so this is the central point. So from this point, that way, the 3D is going to come back in on itself. So when we're at this point, we're still heading this way. And we'll go the same way there as well, just to keep it the same, so we're not losing ourselves in it. And you know, well, fuck it, this one can be like that as well, because it makes sense. Okay, so from here, we're coming this way with the 3D. And just bear in mind, your 3D doesn't have to be perfectly the same size everywhere. As long as it's round about, no one will notice. Unless it's massively out. And just keep the outside edge of your 3D to the same shape as the inside of your letter. So you don't just want to go straight there because it'll just not match. So you want to try and keep that curve within the 3D. Same with this. You want to try and follow that curve. Okay, so that's all the 3D done. What we'll do is, while we've got all this red shit inside it, I'll tell you what, fuck it. Fuck it, let's give it some barcoding, right? Okay, so barcoding is like the typical graph inside of a 3D. Now what you want to do when you do this is always work from the outside edge of the 3D with it. So it's where the light would hit it. That's how I see it. So we'll have that section there. This section here, because it's from the edge of the eye. We'll not give that any. I'll tell you what, we'll give that one there. We'll set light catches that. From here, I'm going to go from the inside on this one rather than going from the bottom. It just tends to look better if you do it from the inside. So with your barcoding, you want to still follow this line, because that is the line of your 3D, so that is the line of light. You see, if I'd have just come straight across with that there and not followed this line, then it'd just look fucking stupid. It wouldn't work. It wouldn't flow. And that's where a lot of people go wrong, by not keeping to the edge lines. If the line dictates shadow, then it also dictates the shine, if you get what I'm saying. So if it dictates the 3D and it dictates the black, which obviously, you know, the 3D is sort of like your shadow. If that line dictates the way the shadow's going, then it's obviously going to dictate the way the light's going. The trick is as well to not go overboard with it. Just try and keep one on a letter, or on a section I should say. Try and keep one of these barcodes on a section. You don't want to do them everywhere, because it'll throw the entire piece out. Give that as well. And then this time, now we've crossed over past this point, we're going to work from this edge in with this stuff. See how we've worked from the left in? Now the 3D's coming this way, we're going to work from the right in. So, okay, we'll give this a bit. And we'll come into this letter as well. And seeing as we work from the top on this one, we'll do the same on this one. You'll see why we call it barcoding when I put the rest of the black in. Well, I believe that's what other people call it anyway, the barcode. A barcode 3D. Personally, I call it a block shine, but you know what I mean? I fucking come up with my own shit, and I so I don't conform. So what happens when you end up teaching yourself, man? You don't know the terms and you just make your own up. Alright, so that's all that done. So, okay, so my black marker seems to have gone missing, so I'll use a paint marker instead. Right, we're just going to throw all this black into the 3D. Okay, this will show you why it's called barcoding. Because what you do is just barcode that shit. I only tend to use maybe two breaks, and maybe, you know, on a long section like this, maybe give it a half one as well. But I never go more than like 2 and a bit. I know some people do, but I just think it fucks the piece up. I don't like it, so. Okay, so that's the 3D done, but as you can still see, the outer edges of the piece don't really sit in, so I'm going to use that fact to show you what I call a power line. If you've seen any of my other sketch videos, or you know, you've seen me paint, you've probably noticed me do these before. And basically what you do, the outside edge of the piece, just the outside edge, none of these internal lines, you just thicken up that line. I do it when I paint, I do it when I sketch, and we'll do it now, and you'll see what it does to a piece and how it can just completely change the entire stance. Okay, so that is a power line. What I sometimes like to do with power lines is just add a couple of bubbles in certain places. Normally in corners and, you know, places like that. Tell you what we will do. Fucking black this shit up. Because that marker has come out grey for some fucking reason. Okay, so back to what I was saying. These little dots, just stick them in the corners every now and then. You don't want to go overboard with them. Sort of like ink splat. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's see if this white paint marker will take away that old red straight letter. Okay, so there you have it. I've, you know, scuffed out the old straight letters. You know, you can still see them, but now at least you can fully appreciate the structure of the other piece. Proof of how important that straight letters actually are in graffiti, you know what I mean? Learn your straights, work from those, and it's just a big fuck you to anyone who, you know, has ever said that my burner letters don't have structure. I mean, I think it's quite obvious that they do have structure, they're not just random shapes. That's how I build them. Yeah, I hope it was some fucking use to you, man. It's definitely a hell of a lot better than the rest of the fucking tutorials you'll see on YouTube. Take it easy, motherfuckers. Peace! And there you have it. That shows you the point of doing straights to begin with. Once you understand the way that letters themselves are constructed, then twisting that shit up and going wild from there, you know, it's just easier once you know the letters, so it pays to practice them and figure out how your shit connects. I hope it was some fucking use to you, man. Anyway, as always, get me at MF Cookie Cop on Instagram, should you so wish. And if you like the shit, you love the shit, share the shit. And if you want some more fucking tutorials from me, comment on the shit, and don't forget to subscribe to that shit. And also, flick that motherfucking bell end on your way out. Until next time, motherfuckers, pea fucking soup and cue my motherfucking music.